Well, hello! Today I'd like to welcome you to my review of the Centropen Lady. This lovely pen that you see here comes from behind the Iron Curtain. So, let's dive into it. If videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, maybe you have a favorite pen from behind the Iron Curtain, or perhaps you can fill in some details about this pen. If so, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Now, quite some time ago on this channel, I did a video of the Centropen 100820. In fact, I think that's a link up there. I delved quite deeply into the history of Centropen. I don't really care to do that again. It's done, it's online, the links are there. But what I talked about, basically, to sum it up, is following the Second World War, the Czech and Slovak republics were forced into a marriage in the form of the country of Czechoslovakia. This is under a communist government, and of course, one of the big things with communism was let's get rid of all these small businesses and let's have one big national industry. So all the small pen manufacturers from around the Czech Republic and Slovak Republic were brought together as one to make the single company of Centropen, which, by the way, exists to this day. I haven't tried their modern pens, but I will admit to some curiosity, although the pens that they make now are definitely on a totally different order from the one you see here. So let's look at the one you see here. As I said, it's a Centropen Lady. That's a small pen. We'll just take a glance at it. I think that finish is absolutely gorgeous. This is a beautiful pen. The pen hides a piston underneath a blind cap. Nothing too fancy on the finials. Gold-filled trim, though, which is interesting. And the nib is an ISCO, which I have searched all over to try and find what the heck ISCO is, because it's on several of the pens you're going to see here in a second. I can find nothing. Nothing at all. I bought this pen because I was searching for ISCO pens, and this is what came up on my search on Etsy for quite a bit less than I've seen it for anywhere else, but then again, anywhere else I wouldn't have had to do all the cleaning and stuff that I had to do on this one. Mostly Centropen sold pens that were branded Centropen. So the whole search for Centropens was kicked off several years ago by the purchase of this pen. So I'm going to set them side by side so you can also get a bit of a size comparison. This is a Centropen 100820. You may notice a similar design aesthetic, although this one's brown. Same idea. Gold-filled trim. Ink window, which is nice. And has an ISCO nib. I feel like everything is going wrong with my background noise right now, but I don't care. I'm going to keep going because it's late at night and I want to go to bed. It also came with a companion pencil. Now I'm going to throw a couple other Centropens here as points of comparison. This is more typically what you see as a Centropen. This is a Centropen 10014. I have not reviewed this one yet, but the day will come. Has another nice celluloid finish. The nib, though, is more typical of what you would expect for a Centropen. You know, it's branded Centropen, it's iridium, and it's a steel nib. You know, it's a decent steel nib, but it is a steel nib. Two more here as points of comparison. A student pen. This is a Student 2069, also a Centropen. Oops, with a screw cap apparently. The nib is not branded, but it's under there. And finally, this is why I'm leaving the space. I don't 100% know that this is a Centropen, but I purchased this pen at the same time I purchased this Lady pen, searching for an ISCO nib, and you'll notice a few design similarities. Same thing there, blind cap with covering the piston turning knob, no branding. Generous ink window that looks pretty similar. Wow, sorry, I just kicked the camera. I got so excited there. And another ISCO nib, which is quite a nib if you've seen my video of this pen. This one is waiting, mainly hoping somebody will tell me what the heck it is, because I keep wondering, is it really a Centropen or not? But I think I may just do the video anyway. But I just felt it was worth pointing out that these are Iron Curtain pens. There were a lot of great ideals, but some people in the People's Paradise were a bit more equal than others. The pens like this brown one and this lady's pen were given to party higher-ups. These weren't the pens that normal people like you and me would buy. And I just feel like it's worth pointing out that way. A lot of them, according to myoberpens.com, of this sort actually were never inked up and were just stored in people's houses, and now that those people are, I don't know, looking for other situations in life, or their family has inherited their belongings, that's how they're filtering out into the market. So I just find that interesting. I found even less about the Centropen Lady pen. myoberpens.com sold one once. Like I said, it wasn't this one. Not a lot of information. So if you know something, I would welcome it. But the whole reason we're here, and the whole reason I do this channel, is because I love writing. So we need to see how this pen writes. As I keep hoping for snow to disappear from the ground, I got to thinking about summer storms. So I inked this up with twice now. We'll get into that here. Robert Oster, Summer Storm. Ran the bit off the camera there, but there we go. Is this a flex nib? Okay, I will admit it's not like my amazing pen, but it really does a decent job. No flex. Flex. This is a good writer. Wetness and flow. Definitely has that. The smear test. Woo! That's a wet pen. And with flex pens, I'm always nervous how this will turn out. And I should just mention here, because I forgot to mention it earlier, when you do a flex pen, never push a pen too far, because it won't flex back. Okay, not as scratchy as I expected, but so thin and pale as to be basically useless. So now, let's take it for a test drive with a longer form writing sample. And one more real quick before we stop here. We'll do the Peer Gustafson test, where we just see how this pen handles a longer flow. And there you have your answer. Not well. So what I would say is very nice writer. Does fail the Peer Gustafson test. It doesn't manage the long-term continuous rapid flow. But under normal writing conditions, I think it provides a very nice writing experience. Now, admittedly, if your hands are a little larger, you're not going to like how small this pen is. Think not quite Kaweco Sport small, but heading in that direction. This is a small pen. I have to write with it posted. I will just add here, I had two things. Oh yeah, one of the things I just want to add is there's definitely a sweet spot to this nib. I was going to point somewhere where I lost the plot, but I can't find it. Anyway, sweet spot to the nib, and it's sharp if you get off this. Oh, there it is. It'll dig if you get off its sharp spot. I think the digging actually happened up here where I realized I needed a single quote mark, not a double quotation mark. And then I carried a bit of the paper from there down to here. It's got a sweet spot, and it's almost italic-like the way it's ground. The other thing I thought I would point out is, ironically tonight, while I was writing my show notes, the pen ran dry. One of my complaints about this pen is I have no way of knowing whether it's almost empty or not. There is no ink window of any kind on this pen, and I feel like it should have one. And I'm struggling to think of very many. I do have one or two, ironically most from behind the Iron Curtain, but I'm trying to think of a piston filler that does not have an ink window, and I'm just not coming up with very many. So if I'm looking for criticisms, that would be one of them. I think the finish is gorgeous. I think the pen is actually solid and fairly well built. I don't think the feed quite keeps up with the nib. I also don't think you want to look at this pen quite as a flexor, more as a pen that flexes well, if you can understand the difference. And look at my rating here if you're wondering how I define that difference. But overall, it's a lot of fun looking at these pens from behind the Iron Curtain. And again, and I know I am shooting myself in the foot when I say this, but yeah, Parker, Schaefer, Wahl Eversharp all made wonderful pens. So did a lot of other brands that you've never heard of. And these other brands you've never heard of can generally be purchased for quite a lot less money. And so I would sincerely suggest you look into some of these other more lower cost pens. Experiment, explore this wide world of vintage pens, because we have a world of vintage pens from which to choose. I'm still looking for my first African and first South American pen, or Australian. I have the feeling there are none from Antarctica, just getting that feeling. But yeah, I've really been filling in my map of Europe, and it's just a world worth looking at. So if videos like this interest you, where I talk about fountain pens both new and old and at all price points, I would invite you to subscribe. And hey, if you know something about this particular Centropen or Centropen in general, or the ISCO brand that's on the nib, I would definitely invite you to leave a comment down below. So as always, I thank you for watching. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.